Fortunately, John 11 has a little something to say about that. Jesus is with you in the midst of your pain. One of my favorite verses that comes out of this passage is the very shortest verse in this passage. Jesus wept. Jesus wept. Many people think this is the shortest verse in the Bible. It's not in the NIV translation. Actually, Job 3:2 is, he said, is what it says. Jesus wept is still a short verse, but it's a very profound verse as well. Not only because the God of the universe has come to planet Earth in order to live and breathe among us, and that he cries at our funerals, that's profound enough. But Jesus wasn't crying for Lazarus. We find out earlier in the passage that Jesus knew that Lazarus was going to be raised from the dead, and so there's no reason for him to be crying for Lazarus. Why is he crying? He's crying because he's identifying so deeply with the pain of Mary and Martha that he's weeping for his people who are sad. This gives me a lot of courage because Jesus knows the outcome of our life and this world perfectly. You wonder if he has compassion, knowing what the end game is. And this passage answers that just like Jesus wept with Mary and Martha, so Jesus still weeps with you in the midst of your pain. He's compassionate because he knows our pain. This verse right here was very important to me in the year 1993. You know, different years of our life, we get dealt different hands, like if we were getting dealt a poker hand. And some years you get dealt a good hand, some years you get dealt a really bad hand. Every once in a while you get dealt a joker. And really bad years you get multiple jokers. I remember in my 1993, I was dealt 5 jokers in one year. It was a 5-joker year for me. It's the most painful year I ever experienced. Kelly and I went into the year, January, pregnant with our first baby, full of joy. And by February, that baby died in the womb before it ever had the chance to see the light of day. Then a little bit later, we were babysitting for a girl in the youth group that we helped to sponsor. Her parents were out of the country, and while we were babysitting for her, she got ran over by a car across her middle. And her parents were gone, so we were the ones who sat with her in intensive care and tried to help get her through this awful situation. And a month later, we had a friend of ours who was a student in our InterVarsity chapter, fell over in the bathroom, hit his head, and went into a coma. And we were the first close friends on the scene before his parents could drive down, and we hosted his parents who lived with us for days while we all took care of Peter, one of my favorite students I had been discipling. Then in the summer of that year, my parents got divorced, and my world, just my family world, became a wreck. And then in the fall, if that wasn't enough, we were pregnant again, and for a second time, the baby died before he had his chance to take a first breath. And I'll tell you what, in 1993, I was mad at God. And I was asking God, why do bad things happen to good people? Because I thought of myself as good people, you know? I mean, I had gone to a good university. I played by the rules. I graduated with honors. I had a promising career in business or law. I decided to give up all that big dollar stuff in order to stay on a college campus and just talk to students about Jesus. That's what I wanted to do. I was so in love with Jesus. And I didn't make big money. Kelly and I averaged, between the two of us, working full-time for 3 years, we averaged $12,000 a year. And I thought that because of that, because I was good people, that should exempt me from pain, right? And I experienced the 5-joker year right when I was in the midst of all of that pain. There was even a time when I cried out, God, take me now. If this is how painful it's going to be, just take me out of this world. Because I know it's way less painful in the next world. And of course, the irony of that is if God would have taken me then, it would have caused all kinds of pain to the people who are around me, the people who loved me the most, my family, my friends, my young wife. See, pain, one of the things I learned in the midst of that, is that pain keeps us yearning for a better world. When we're in the midst of our pain, we have this profound sense that there's got to be a better way. There's got to be something better. And I think God did this on purpose to us because we have an imagination where we can think of a world where there's no more crying and no more pain and no more sin, no more sorrow, no more death, where all the things that give us tragedy and pain right now don't happen anymore. And what do you know? That yearning is for a very real existence that God has planned for us. And He wants us to live with an eternity in mind. And pain reminds us that there is a pain-free existence that's coming, that there is a forever resurrection. It's interesting that Jesus put this quote, Jesus wept, so close to the quote, I am the resurrection and the life. There's the God of compassion and the God of hope side by side, and these two issues are deeply intertwined with one another.